gathering around President Bush. He shakes hands and promises that someone will pay.
I can hear you, the rest of the world hears you, and the people who knock these buildings down will hear all of it soon.
From fervor to frustration, sadly no survivors were found today, and nearly 5,000 people are still missing. And yet emergency volunteer workers like Boston paramedic Craig Garber aren't giving up.
I'm going to be here until they throw me out. And a clean, untouched wine glass. No dust, no cracks in the glass at all. Sitting perfectly on a fallen beam. On top of a fallen beam. So this building had come down. All around. This building we were inside of, this office was completely on its side. And there's this beautiful crystal wine glass sitting on a beam that had already come down. So the first thing we thought of is there has to be somebody alive in here. Perhaps they had no way out. This was the way they were going to say farewell to the world. Say a prayer, have a glass of wine, and wait until the time comes. Perhaps they'd be rescued, hopefully they'd be rescued, and telling that time didn't come. Both officers climbed over walls. We actually looked inside desks and in cubby holes. We lifted up debris and we couldn't find them. And it was astonishing, you know. You think somebody actually was alive in there after the fact. And I guess they had a peaceful goodbye.
Two debris piles, even more dangerous. And yet this is the only place in the world that Boston's Craig Garber wants to be.
I'm an American. I love my country, and a lot of people suffering.
A trained paramedic, Garber jumped into his car and rushed to New York after seeing these images on television Tuesday morning. A close family friend of Garber's was killed in the Pan Am bombing years ago.
Very, very deep in my heart is an anger that I don't think it's going to go away for a very long time. And I don't think it should. I think that's what gives us our fight. And
earlier today with a rescue worker who found a wine bottle and wine glass intact. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because that has really stuck with me. It's such a memorable story.
It's an amazing story. That story was told to us by Craig Garber. He's actually a volunteer who drove up here from Hyde Park in Boston. He flew down here in his car Tuesday afternoon as soon as he saw the images on television. He says that as they were looking around in one of the office buildings, they were up about, I think he said about maybe 5 or 6 stories up in the rubble. He went into this area that was just totally devastated, and in the middle of it all, sitting there, was a bottle of wine and a crystal glass. Neither the bottle nor the glass was shattered. Both of them just sitting there perfectly. All around it was devastation. Now he and the rest of the search crews frantically started looking around, thinking that that was proof that someone should have survived in that area. Of course, if a bottle of wine and a glass could have come out unscathed, then someone should have been able to come out unscathed as well. They looked around and they found nothing, but that was something that really stuck in the mind of Craig Garber. That bottle of wine and that glass just sitting there unshattered. And that's one of the reasons why they just keep going. They feel that there are people underneath the rubble that are doing just fine if they can just get to them.
It's hard to say what that story is, other than maybe that life is just very fluky sometimes.
Let me just say one thing about that, Jody. In Craig Garber's mind, he felt that perhaps somebody was in there, they had the bottle of the wine, they had the glass, and that they decided that they were going to sit back and try to go peacefully. That is just the image that he has in his mind. I think everybody sort of has their own images of what's been happening underneath that rubble, but that's sort of what he has been thinking as he goes through all of this.
All right, David Wade, thank you so much for your report. Back to New York City.
Instruction that the world